Pokemon Trozei was a fun little puzzle game that released on the Nintendo DS in 2005 if you lived in Japan, and 2006 for most other parts of the world. It was released in the era where a ton of Pokemon spin-offs were releasing after Pokemon Emerald came out to hold us over until Generation 4 would come out. And a lot of those spin-offs, such as this one, ended up on the DS, as that had come out by this point and it was a very successful platform. Pokemon Trozei took full advantage of the DS's touchscreen capabilities, being a puzzle game where you slide the rows and columns to make matches of Pokemon in order to retrieve them from a villainous organization known as the Phobos Battlon. The game didn't just stop at utilizing the DS touchscreen though. Trozei also has wireless multiplayer modes that allow you to team up with a friend to go and catch some more Pokemon that aren't available in the main story mode, and a battle mode. That's not the only multiplayer functionality that this game has, though it really should have been. You see, Trozei and Blue Rescue Team had an early version of Street Pass implemented into them known as Espionage and the Unknown Dungeon respectively, that allows you to connect to other copies of either Trozei or Blue Rescue Team to get rewards in those two games. For some reason they're even compatible with each other's version of the mode, and you get some unique rewards for making that connection. Unfortunately, the rewards from that particular connection are not what we're talking about today, though I felt it was a really cool feature that I had to mention. What we're talking about today is what's locked behind this feature between two copies of Pokemon Trozei. You see, whenever you buy a new copy of Pokemon Trozei, upon booting it up for the first time, your agent card is created. When creating the agent card for the first time, a random rare Pokemon of the 201 possible rare Pokemon is selected to be displayed on it. If you go and look at your agent card, you can play a level by clicking on the tent that's shown on the card. In this level, you're given the opportunity to catch whatever the rare Pokemon in your agent card is. Okay, so that's cool and all, but what does this have to do with espionage mode? You see, when you pass another player in espionage mode, you trade a copy of your agent card with them. This allows you to send your friend the stage that you got, and they can now play the stage you had before. Here's where this becomes a problem. You see, out of the 201 rare Pokemon, there are also the 21 legendary and mythical Pokemon that were available as of Generation 3. These 21 Pokemon, as far as we know, or at least can prove, are exclusive to this mechanic. There are claims online of them very rarely appearing in other modes, such as Mr. Who's Den, Battle Mode, Endless Mode, and Pair Mode. However, no video or even photo evidence of one appearing in any of those modes has ever surfaced online. Furthermore, thanks to a data mine done by ReserveCat, we found that the legendaries are not listed as the available rares on any stage in the game. Endless Mode also resets back to level 1 after you complete level 99, so it seems like they're not in that mode either. So if they're locked to the agent cards, all you need is 2 copies of the game and you can keep deleting the save data on one of them, and eventually you'll get all the legendary Pokemon, right? Of course not, that would make too much sense. You see, when I said creating the agent card for the first time you create a save file, I meant the first time and only the first time. As it turns out, despite this game having a delete all save data input, which is performed by holding L, R, A, B, X, and Y, deleting all save data will delete everything except the Pokemon that was selected for your agent card. So what this means is if you want to complete the Pokedex in this game totally legitimately, this would result in you buying hundreds of copies of the game just to find the legendary Pokemon you need. Considering you need to find 21 of the 201 rare Pokemon on these cards, the odds are stacked against you unless you're a millionaire or the average eBay scalper. Because this is permanently set when you load the game for the first time, this is similar to the situation with the Manaphy Egg in Pokemon Ranger. As you're probably familiar with already, the Manaphy Egg in Pokemon Ranger, another game that came out around this time, because of course it did, is limited to 1 egg per copy of the game. If you've already claimed the egg, there was no legitimate means of getting another one on that copy of the game. While sure, if you get a legendary for your agent card on your copy, you could send it to anyone an unlimited number of times, this still means that any copy of Pokemon Trozei has a 21 out of 201 chance of having access to any legendary Pokemon, and a ridiculously low 1 out of 201, or a less than 0.5% chance to get any one specific legendary Pokemon you need. Which arguably makes this even worse than the Ranger Manaphy Egg, because at least in the case of that, you're always getting the Manaphy if you find a new copy. Now, if you own a flash cart or have custom firmware on your 3DS or DSi and can run a virtual copy of Pokemon Trozei, there is a workaround for this that you can do to reset for the legendary Pokemon, and it's a pretty simple one too. All you need to do is locate the save file you just created and delete it outside of the game. This will force the game to create a totally new save file, which will generate a new agent card rare Pokemon. Then you can connect it with your main save file through Espionage, even if that file is on a real copy of the game, and that'll allow you to send that card over to the main save file. This is not at all a reasonable workaround though, And assuming that there isn't something more at play related to these Pokemon that hasn't been proven yet, this leaves Pokemon Trozei holding the title as one of, if not the worst Pokedex in the entire series in terms of accessibility. Before we go, I'd like to ask this of my audience. If you can prove in any way that these legendary and mythical Pokemon are available through any other means in this game, please send me proof of such over on my Twitter, whether that be a photo or a video. There will be a pinned comment on this video if this has been disproven. However, between myself, Altissimo, and Kat, we've come to the conclusion that the Ancient Cards are the only method of obtaining legendary Pokemon in Pokemon Trozei. Thank you all again so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time for whatever video is coming out next. Later on, guys, and as always, take care.